Hi everyone, this is Serac, and today we're finally back with a budget deck. I've been prepping this one for a little while now, waiting on cards, work's been busy, I did a little update video a couple of weeks ago. So let's get into it. It is Speedroid. So these got some recent updates in Synchro Storm, and they've suddenly become a rather competent, albeit very, very complex and slightly unidimensional combo deck. So, let's get into the deck. We have 3 copies of Speedroid Car Turbo. I'm really sorry that they are mismatched rarities. There's going to be a lot of that in this video. So, Car Turbo is a level 3 tuner. If you control a wind monster, special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. You can banish this card and 1 Speedroid monster from your graveyard. All wind monsters gain 800 attack until the end of this turn. This provides you with extension from the hand, it's a tuner, it's a relevant level, and it gives you OTK potential with the 800 attack that your opponent will never think to calculate. So, do not forget that 800 attack boost. Other than that, level 3 tuner, very, very simple effect. Very, very good in the deck. We have 3 copies of Speedroid Marble Machine. Ignore the pendulum effect, we are never scaling this, ever. This has the normal summon effect. Add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. Then it locks you into wind monsters. The entire deck is a wind-based deck. And we don't really care about anything else. It searches a Speedroid on normal summon. It's very, very good. It gives us access to Car Turbo, makes us a level 5. It gives us access to every other Speedroid in the deck. Yeah, why wouldn't you play 3 of these? 1 Speedroid Terratop, How the Mighty Have Fallen. This card is now limited because it made rank 3s too easily. If you control no monsters, special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal or special summoned, add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. Also very simple. Also very, very good. This is how the deck works. They all do the same things. They search each other, and then they special summon themselves, and then you make big synchro monsters. We have 3 copies of Speedroid Takatomborg. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. This is a pattern. You might be getting that now. You contribute this card, special summon 1 Speedroid tuner monster from your deck. So it's a Lone Fire Blossom for tuner monsters. Very, very good. And you can only special summon Takatomborg once per turn. But we actually get to run 3 of these, unlike every other deck that ran a Speedroid engine. So now the rest of the deck is a lot of random 1 and 2-offs that just do slightly different things. Speedroid Fuki Madoshi Piper. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can excavate cards from the top of the deck equal to the number of wind monsters you control. Add 1 excavated card to your hand, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Banish this card from the graveyard, target 1 level 3 or higher wind monster, reduce its level by 2. So it draws you a card, which may be up to 5 cards deep, and 4 cards deep, sorry, it's other wind monsters you control. Although you might have a link, so could be 5 cards deep. It draws you a card. And then you can target a wind monster you control that's level 3 or higher, reduce its level by 2. That's the other theme of Speedroids, other than just adding themselves to your hand and summoning themselves, is they also modulate their levels really well, which allows you to go into all your different synchros. 1 Speedroid Ultra Hound. When it's normal summoned, you get to send a card from your deck to the graveyard. And then, if it's during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card from the graveyard, target 1 Speedroid monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and special summon 1 Speedroid Synchro monster from your extra deck with the same level but a different name. So this lets you tag out into your other synchros that are your lower level synchros that you have access to, and also sets up your graveyard. Note it can send a Speedroid card, not a Speedroid spell, not a Speedroid monster, so you can send the trap if you need to. 1 Speedroid Den Daiko Duke, that's fun to say. It's a level 3 tuner. and you can banish it from your graveyard, special summon one Speedroid tuner from your hand or graveyard except itself. Very simple. Does exactly what we expect out of a Speedroid card. One Speedroid rubber band plane. If a monster is special summoned to your field, special summon this card from your hand. Very, very simple. It does things. It special summons itself. And note, it's any monster, not just a Speedroid monster. And then it locks you into wind monsters. If it's normal or special summon, you can also make a face-up monster lose 600 attack, but you can count the number of times that will be relevant on less than one hand. One Speedroid double yo-yo. If it's normal summoned, target one level 3 or lower Speedroid monster in the graveyard, special summon it. It's amazing how simple these cards are. Except when you try to figure out how they all work together, it makes your brain explode. One Speedroid Horde Stilt. When this card is normal summoned, special summon one level 4 or lower Speedroid monster from your hand. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card, send one wind monster from your deck to the graveyard. Again, very, very simple. You get special summon from the hand. Ideally, you're special summoning a tuner, then you make a synchro. Then the next turn you use this to Foolish Burial a card. One Speedroid Red Eyes Dice. This card gives you level modulation, and it's a level 1 tuner, so this lets you make every single synchro in your extra deck. Very, very important card, and it does it on normal or special summon. So, for a little bit of extra, we've got one Virtual World Hime Nyan Nyan. This, if a level 3 monster is normal or special summoned, while this card is in your graveyard, special summon this card as a tuner, but banish it when it leaves the field. That is basically the only relevant bit of this, other than that it's wind, and it's level 3. We can also special summon it with the now unlimited Emergency Teleport, along with the next card. That is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So this is your, if you accidentally draw your Nyan Nyan and don't want to Elliot out of your hand, get a Ghost Ogre instead. And Ghost Ogre is A, already a tuner, and B, has a hand trap effect that also works from the field. So it's really, really good, and it's also really good against Sword Soul. 2 Effect Failure, because you know what Effect Failure does now, and we're only running 2 because most of our monsters make monster negates, and also we didn't have space for any more. 3 Speedroid Scratch. They gave you a Cynet Mining for Speedroids. Yeah, it's a good card. You discard a Speedroid card from your hand to the graveyard. Add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. You can discard a card, summon it back with double yo-yo. This deck, despite running so many one-offs, is unreasonably consistent because of the amount of searching, because every card in the deck searches. And we have another searching card, Speedroid Wheel. Discard a card, roll a 6-sided die, then special summon from your hand or deck 1 or 2 Speedroid monsters whose total level equal the results, but negate their effect. If you do not special summon, you lose life points equal to the result times 500. This is an urgent schedule for Speedroids. It's really, really good. You could always get at least 1 monster if you roll a 1, and most of the time you get 2 monsters. We're then playing 3 Speedlift. Now, I don't see a lot of people playing Speedlift, but I quite like it. If you control 1 tuner and no other monsters, special summon 1 level 4 or lower Speedroid monster from your deck. Neither player can activate cards or effects when that monster is special summoned. Note, you can still summon a tuner from the deck. It's just the condition to activate it means you need to have 1 tuner on the field. It's also quick play, and it, again, helps you get cards out of your deck. Note, they won't activate on summon effects, so don't summon those. Get things like Takatomborgs out of your deck. Three copies of Speed Recovery. This card is Monster Reborn, but it's at 3, and it's not once per turn. Yeah, it's a good card. And it also has a graveyard effect because reasons. To return a monster from your graveyard to your hand. we have 3 emergency teleport. This brings Nyan Nyan and Ghost Ogre out of the deck onto the field. Immediate level 3, either tuner or non-tuner, and also helps put Nyan Nyan into the graveyard. Most of your synchros are generic or require a wind monster, which is why Nyan Nyan is our preferred option, but Ghost Ogre is a decent backup if we just need a tuner. Yes, again, we can also use it to bring out a Ghost Ogre on our opponent's turn as another form of interruption. 1 Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn is Monster Reborn, and this deck has lots of effects it wants to use. 1 Called by the Grave, because Ash Blossom is a card, BROL is a card, and Nibiru is a card that Called by the Grave doesn't stop, which is very sad. And finally, 1 Speedroid Duplicate. This is a compulse and an extender. You only need the 1 copy because you're generally either going to use it. You generally either need the extender effect now, or you just have it as a nice extra as a compulse. But again, very, very good card. Very, very useful. Can be searched off a number of your cards that search Speedroid cards, not Speedroid monsters. But again, note that a lot of the Speedroid spells just have the word speed in them, so can't be searched. We then have, for our extra deck, 1 High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. This is a Link 2 requiring 2 wind monsters, and then during a main phase, normal summon a wind monster, and then it locks you into the it locks you into synchro monsters for the rest of the turn. Banish a wind synchro monster from the extra deck. Reveal 2 Speedroid monsters with different names whose total levels equal the level, and your opponent randomly picks 1 for you to add to hand. And then you send the rest to the graveyard. You're normally banishing a level 7 and searching double yo-yo and Terratop here, because either way you get the Terratop effect. And again, gives you an extra normal summon, lets you search any card you need in your deck, and sets up the graveyard for you. Very, very strong, but a magnet for hand traps, and we only need 1, because it should only need to go off once. Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Big Bad Dragon. 1 tuner synchro monster, 1 non-tuner clear wing monster. So, level 3 synchro tuners, which we run. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, except during the damage step, activate this effect. Until the end of this turn, this face-up card is unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters. This card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack. Once per turn, when a spell or trap card is activated, negate the activation, destroy it. This synchro summon card you control is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card, add 1 wind monster from your deck to your hand. It does everything. It's unaffected by monster effect, it negates spell and trap effect, and it floats on destruction, and it's really, really easy to make with cards like Cork Shooter. 1 High Speedroid Motorbike, Clear Wing Rider. Roll a 6-sided die, shuffle wind monsters from your graveyard into the deck, destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number shuffled. This card gains 500 attack for each card destroyed by this effect until the end of the turn. So that's your OTK machine right there. You contribute this card, special summon 2 level 7 wind synchro monsters with different names from your extra deck. So it tags out to dodge targeted removal, or give you different interruptions on your opponent's turn, or it gets massive, blows up their board, and ends the game. 1 Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, because sometimes you just have to go back to the classics. Is this a classic card yet? This card came out not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. I think it was 2017 Shining Victories came out, might have been 2016. Once per turn, another monster's effect is activated, negate the activation, destroy that monster, and it gains attack equal to the monster's original attack. If this card battles a level 5 or higher monster, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of the opponent's monster it's battling during damage calculation only. There's some fun stuff you can do with destroying Shens and having this card gain attack, which is more relevant in Virtual World, but it can still be fun to do. If you can make this card early to dodge Nibiru, it's great. One High Speedroid Hydrate. This card is insane. This card destroys all other cards on the field when it's summoned. Yeah. Or it Dark Rulers them. And it floats on destruction. And it's got 3k attack. And it's pretty generic. This card's really, really good. Yeah. One Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. So, this is your go-to level 7. When a level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field, negate the activation, destroy it. Once per turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets a level 5 or higher monster on the field, negate the activation and destroy it. If it destroys a monster with its effect, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of the turn. You're almost certainly never leaving this on the field. It is in the extra deck as a level 7 synchro with relevant card types for making things like Crystal Wing and Clear Crystal Wing Big Daddy Dragon. Clear Wing Fast Dragon. Pendulum effect. Send one face-up Speedroid tuner and one non-tuner you control to graveyard whose levels equal 7. Special summon this card from your Pendulum Zone. Quick effect. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck, change its attack to 0, negate that monster's effect. If it's destroyed by metal or card effect, place it in the Pendulum Zone. So again, this is just another relevant wind dragon that's level 7. One High Speedroid Hagota. You contribute this card, increase the level of all monsters on the field by 1 until the end of this turn. If this card is in your graveyard and you control a Speedroid tuner monster, special summon this card, and you can also cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. This can make your opponent very, very sad if they're trying to make a Sword Soul monster or their own Synchro or Xyz monster, which can be quite funny. But most of the time you're just going to use this because it's very easy to modulate your own levels or bring itself out of your graveyard for an extra synchro summon. One High Speedroid Puzzle. Puzzle, at the start of the damage step, if it battles a special summoned monster, make this card attack double its original attack. During the end phase, if it was in the graveyard because it was sent there from the field its turn, target a Speedroid monster in your graveyard specials and add it to the hand. This is just a nice piece of recursion that when you've synchro summoned with it, you can get part of your investment back. 2 copies of High Speedroid Cork Shooter. This is your main level 3 synchro. If this card is synchro summoned, activate one of these effects. Add 1 Speedroid spell trap from your deck to your hand. Okay, nice. Or, if all the materials that were used for the synchro summon in this card were Speedroid monsters, and they are all in your graveyard, special summon all of them. Yeah, this card is Soul Charge for Speedroids. And with the level modulations, we can very, very easily abuse this to get more levels than we put into it. So things like Red-Eyed Dice can obviously change levels. This obviously adds 3 to whatever you special summon, because there has to be at least a tuner in the graveyard. So there's a whole host of different effects that you can use this. And it also searches Speedroid Scratch, Speedroid Wheel, and similar cards like that. Finally, we have some generics. We have one Stellar Wind Wolfrayet. This is your Nibiru. It's a wind. It's a sort of semi-floodgate that your opponent has to deal with. Remember, you can also make it earlier, and therefore your opponent has fewer effects before you threaten the shuffle back into the deck. One Adamancipator Risen Raptide. This is a very nice card for stopping those pesky graveyard effects. Anyone who's playing cards like Eldritch will be very, very sad because you just banish their cards before they can use their effects. Or similarly, any other targeted graveyard stuff gives you a DD Crow because you have wind monsters in your graveyard, which you always do. And it's got a nice big 2800 fat booty. One Virtual World Cube Shen. I cannot speak. You know what this card does. It's a floodgate. It can bring itself back. It's very, very fun. Yeah. Like Shen. It's a fun card for everyone that's not your opponent. And finally, one Wind Pegasus at Ignista. This is another level 7 wind monster that's nice, and gives us some spell trap destruction, and also is another very nice card that is in the graveyard. Can return a card your opponent controls back to their extra deck. I'm really struggling with speaking today. Right, so that is the deck. The deck is unbelievably cheap at the moment. This build will cost you around £65, and unfortunately the upgrades are really, really expensive, because the first thing you want to get is Baron de Fleur, because it's just the best synchro monster in the game at the moment. Other than that, cards like Ash Blossom and Crossamp Designator and Forbidden Droplets that we all know and love are well worth investing into for this deck. So yay, but don't buy those cards just for Speedroids, please. Or do, I can't tell you what to do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the deck, and I will see you again with some more deck profiles very soon. Thanks for watching.